Hello one, it's me, I'm the Trouble Davis. I'm back in a new video. Recently, a famous artist known as Saruei debuted as a VTuber on Twitch. A few days after her debut, Saruei has been involved in a set of controversies with other artists and the original creator of the model as a VTuber. Yoimon, the original artist of Saruei, shared a text where he included some private conversations with Saruei, where he explains that Saruei did not explain very well what she wanted and was quite demanding. In addition to this, one of her biggest complaints is that she was never clear about when she needed her model, mainly because Saruei gave her on back dates like simply I'm going to debut in June or that she wanted to debut in August. Finally, Saruei did not like the model and canceled the job, asking for a refund. She kept a part of the model, the upper torso of this model itself, and drew the missing parts of the model herself to finish it. When it seems that this issue should have been settled and that it should not even have come to light because it was really something private, multiple artists appeared to criticize Saruei. To really cover everything, I'm going to have to split this into multiple sections. Adding to this, I'm gonna put the both versions of the parts. So let's start with these. All the screenshots and details would be in the description of this video, so it's a really long topic. I think I can afford all of the text on this video. J. and Saruei. Basically, Saru and GK knew each other from before, and together with a group of people decided to plan a trip, an outing to Japan, which at the time was the Comiket, and they were going to participate. JK says that Saru behaved like shit during the whole time the group spent together, and it ended up that everyone got annoyed with her. And it makes sense because she ruined the 2 weeks for them. Something very important to note is that Saru claims to be in love with JK. After that, Saru spoke again to apologize to JK and tell him that during those 2 weeks she felt left out by the group, which was true, and that everyone was upset with her. And she says that when he treated her badly, she felt very bad. Yes, at that time, she had already told him that she was in love with him. In short, they spoke again, very little, but they spoke again. Sometime later, someone warns GK that Saru on his server is talking bad about him. Things like that she rejects JK, when in fact it's the other way around, and that he kept telling her that she was beautiful, and things like that. When GK finds out about all of this, that Saru seems started attacking him, he decided to make a thread with information and a story of these two. Then he talks about the problems he had with the other artists, which he shouldn't have since he wasn't well informed on the subject. In Saru's point of view, the part about 2 weeks spent with the Comiket is real, and simply try to avoid being hated by making wall text. About the artist and the commissions she hired, she didn't steal models, she paid for illustrations. With Joy, she seemed to get desperate and keep asking for him for progress and how the work was going. In the end, Saru asked for a refund. 2 months before the deadline she gave him. As it was taking too long, in the end, they agreed on a partial refund depending on the amount of work Joy was involved in. For the other artist, she didn't give any type of deadline and started to demand progress in the work, since according to her, he was playing video games all day and didn't seem to be working. In the end, he gave her the illustrations and she didn't seem to be satisfied. Since the illustrations seemed to be done hurry, and there were several details missing in the design as well in the background. In the end, she asked for a partial refund, depending on the amount of work the artist did, and the project fell for her to finish it. Big accusations from JK. On the two their Saruei were getting bad in Japan. On the 2 weeks where Saruei were getting bad in Japan, her friends helped her to get on the hospital since she got really bad health for that moment. For this part, I'm gonna quote what both parts said. Jakey. Based on what Jakey said, Sarah was in a bad mood, and she was repeating the word die while she was looking at a grandma. Adding to this, Jakey says this can be confirmed by all the people who were there in that moment. This is the Sarah's answer. Literally, I would never wish anyone to die. My mind was blown by what J. wrote, and I have a hard time thinking he would lie about something as extreme as this. I was sick for the entire last week in Japan, so they did what they want during their trip, and I just stayed in bed. I also remember many moments when they were distant or keep the discussion very short, and I still can't believe they hated me just because I wasn't fast enough at packing everything up and the end of the comic ed. X-Ray Dritz. X-Ray Dritz was the artist hired by Saruei to make her lore illustration. It had the kind style of Art Knight's girls. JK addressed this topic without having too much knowledge. One of the accusations is that she didn't pay the artist, which is actually not true. She paid extra rate all the enterprise with an extra price of $50 additional dollars, adding $50 additional dollars extra to the initial $100 for the sketch, making it $150 when a sketch true price is actually $100. Saruei mentioned that X-Ray constantly play Minecraft or Legends of Runeterra. I'm quoting here. I tried to ask him when he will start working on my commission. He would reply that he works better during the night, which I can understand. Sometimes I do prefer working when it's really late myself, and I feel like I have even more inspiration when I'm almost exhausted, which is weird but relatable. However, these days would pass until he wouldn't work on the commission during both day and night, and when asked about it, he now told me he would be done with my commission on the due date, so in 2 weeks. That he worked best under pressure. I want to remind you that I paid to be as the front line on his wishing list, but instead he just plays game all long day until the artist passed the deadline based on what Saruei said on her document text. At the end, he only worked on a deal. She asked for the credits and she got refunded. Artist said it would be better if she puts credits, but if she's not comfortable, she is not need for credits. That's what Saruei said and did. This was considered a scam by Saruei. Sexism. Saruei considered Jakey as a sexist for calling her fans simps. I quote, I would like to let you know, J. that this is sexist to call female streamers community simps for the late defending her, especially for such a strong accusation that you are making. Also, I would like very much that you share the screenshots you were claiming that I dumped up, because we never actually had a relationship to begin with. You just complimented me, we held hands, and I accused you. That's it. I would like you to not call me a cunt or a whore to in your tweets. Again, please provide the proof. He calls me a compulsive liar. It keeps no proofs of any of these while simultaneously admitting that at least some of what he said was slander and lies. He called my community Sims for defending me, yet gets mad when I call him sexist for it. Yes, men can have their supporters called Sims too. Men can have the supporters called Sims too. But in light of everything else, it does seem more of a sexist, belittling remark. He then continues to tag my image and play victim in public in his Discord, which is open to everyone to join. Jakey admitted to be wrong in some of the statements about the artist, but Jakey utterly continues criticizing Saruei for her attitude on the 2 weeks in Japan and the bad behavior Saruei had with the artists, doing or giving a really short or really bad deadlines for the release date of her stream debut. My conclusions. Well, what a shame of drama. I'm not saying nothing if I say this should be something that must be solved on private, but also that I'm just gonna say, ignoring the topic where Saruei really did bad with the artist, most of what happened in Japan are just words to believe or not, since none of those things can be showed as it truly did happen. Both have the narrative. This is the word of one against the other one. I'm leave you all the details in the description. I simply think that both sides have made mistakes, and about the story in Japan, I do not take a position. I'm just going to report what happened in this drama. Make yourself, guys, your own opinion. And this is all. Thank you all for watching. See you in another video. This has been a Trouble of the Abyss. Share and like. Bye bye.